I've thought about my career as a salesman. I've thought of my career as an employee, and I've thought of my career as a business owner. And in many ways, thinking of myself as a business owner and thinking of myself as a salesman blurred together, but both of them were very distinct from my career as an employee. And I never saw myself as wanting to be an employee for the rest of my life and moving towards retirement or something like that. Never have I ever thought of myself as wanting that as a sort of life trajectory. And as a sentient being, I get to choose the direction of my life. A lot of people choose not to choose, which basically lets other people choose for you. And the simple fact of the matter is, my career as a salesman, my career as a business owner are tremendously more valuable than my career as an employee. And even before I was earning $300 an hour, you know what? I still thought of it like I was earning $300 an hour, because it changes how you think about things, and how you think about things changes the sort of things you do. And the more I thought about it that way and thought, okay, I'm the guy making $300 an hour, the more I thought of it that way, the more it changed and influenced my thoughts and actions for the better. But even before I was making $300 an hour, I always thought I was more valuable. Always. You know, maybe I made more money working this job than I did working this business. Yeah, okay, dollar for dollar at the end of the year, you're probably right. Probably made more money with a job than with my business. But you know what? I was gaining experience. I was gaining experience that you hit this point. You hit this teeter-totter, you know? And I hit that point in my teeter-totter to where now I'm making significant amounts of money to support all of my needs. And I just believe that life should be lived in abundance. Everybody's free to believe whatever they want to believe. I choose to believe that life should be lived in abundance. And I act accordingly. My salesmanship career began at Cutco, selling cutlery, knives, forks, knives, etc. And it ended up in life insurance sales. In between, I had soared door to door. And at the end, I was selling life insurance. And the flow of coincidence impacted my life back then as well, because the man that ended up becoming my mentor in life insurance for that period of time, he was very influential. I actually met him while I was selling door to door, working for AT&T, Kaizen Consulting, selling door to door. AT&T home services, cell phone services, getting people to switch their cell phone service by knocking on their door. And that's actually how I met the man that introduced me to life insurance. And he had so influenced me that I went back to driving for a company called Postmates. I really like all of the companies, Uber and similar services, Postmates, DoorDash, Grubhub, they're all great, all of them. And I used all that money to put myself through life insurance class. You have to take a class, get certified, and get your license. And you have to renew your license every 2 years. I went through, paid the money, paid the fees, got my license, got my so forth. I went out and started making it happen. Started calling people, setting prospects, And actually, I worked at a warehouse in between my life insurance career, which kind of sounds funny maybe to some people, but I always thought of them, like I said, three parts of myself: the salesmanship, the employee, and the business owner. And the business owner and the salesman were kind of similar. I worked at this warehouse driving forklifts. Also had to get certified on that. Took a safety course. They gave us this orange vest, and I still have an orange vest. I met with a guy that I met down in my investment territory, and the first time I met him was actually at this house he's working on. So I put my vest on. That I had my vest from having worked there in the warehouse. Is required to wear every day. Those were quite some days. They were 12-hour days. They were 6 days a week. They were work, and the overall rapport was pretty low. The quality of work and the workplace culture is usually what I'll say with the workplace culture was absolutely low morale. There was a very low morale. Most people didn't really enjoy what they were doing. They were just grunging along with it. I'm glad that I'm out of there. I wanted to get out of there as quickly as I possibly could, so I started saving up a lot of money, saved up a couple $1,000, and then basically stopped working that job and started working in life insurance again. And it's important to understand that I had only worked the job at the warehouse. I had only ever worked that job. Only ever worked that job just so I could save up money to get back to life insurance. That was it. That was the only reason. A lot of what I do at Stonewheel is similar, in some ways, is similar to what I did in life insurance, insofar as talking with people, setting appointments, going out, meeting with them. Back then, those were so many applications. Honestly, what I do now is it's a lot simpler, actually. It's a lot simpler, because back then, you'd meet somebody, you'd have to go through so many different applications, and there might be 15 or 25 different applications for you to choose from, and there were so many options. You had to memorize stuff, and well, that's not true. They actually had phone calls. They encourage you to call somebody from the house, but a lot of the times when I'm meeting with people now for Stonewheel, I only have one offer agreement. Only one. So in terms of back then, when there were 20 applications, now I've only got one application. So that's a lot simpler for me. And the application influences how I actually meet with people throughout the conversation. I'm building rapport very systematically in a way that I never could have. I'm a lot more better than I could have ever been at life insurance sales. And it's because I'm a better real estate investor than the other guy, not Joseph, but the other guy, is ever going to be. Life insurance was a big thing for me. Another little background was in between life insurance and in between my first business, Detail on Demand, I had my second business, Furry Friends. Now, Furry Friends was this online business. It was a product-based business, because after I started Detail on Demand was a service-based business. I had to show up every day. And do the work. I thought, if I got a product-based business, that'd be so much better, because then I can monetize something other than just my time. Never really took off. Neither one of those really took off. But that doesn't mean that they were anything less than perfect. They were absolutely flawless in every way. I kept myself in the flow by doing what I do. And I'm the best at what I do. In many ways, I'm not in the real estate business. In many ways, I'm in the people business. And I'm profiting by that because I know people better than anybody knows people. That other real estate investor, let's call him Terry, just for instance. Well, the thing about Terry is that I'm a better real estate investor than Terry will ever be for as long as he lives. And it's because I understand people about 1,005 times better than he understands people. Now, I'm sure he understands a lot about different aspects of life and so forth, but he definitely cannot understand people as good as I understand people because I am the best at what I do. I only work with people that know what they're talking about, and in some instances, he certainly did know what he was talking about. In other instances, he was absolutely clueless. He was clueless on entrepreneurship. I see real estate as one of my businesses, and I see a bigger picture as a business owner, and I don't think he ever really fully grasps that bigger picture as a business owner. It's to his own disadvantage, but as we shall see, it really is based around piety, because my poor parents are the best, and without them I couldn't have ever worked on Furry Friends. That was a year-long process that basically transformed me into a world-class copywriting expert. The reason I say I'm the best at what I do is because I took those first 3.5 years of salesmanship experience, and then I applied all of that towards my study throughout copywriting, studying the best of the best in the world, in all of history, from the very beginning. I mean, copywriting as its own study, you think of something like neuroscience, that's a very new field of study, has not existed for very long. Well, back in the 1920s, that was copywriting. Copywriting did not really exist until the mid-20s. And before then, there was no such thing as copywriting. So from the very beginning of its conception up to date, I've got all of it. The last 100 years, the best of the best. And it's made me the best. Now, the reason, in my opinion, the reason Furry Friends did not have the success is because it did not have the eyeballs. It did not have the eyeballs it needed for me to make money. I mean, I was only making, let's say, $1 or $2. Let's say $1 or $2 profit on each sale. Well, for me to make $10,000 a week, I'd have to make 10,000 sales, right? Ooh. And if I make a sale on average of, let's say 10%, which is very high, I'd have to have at least 100,000 eyeballs. I did not have that many eyeballs. Getting a social media, in hindsight, and if I were ever to do anything future, I would use, well, I won't talk about specific details. Hire me if you want to know more about that. I mean, I should say apply for it. There's no openings in my program now. Like I said, it's a very exclusive coaching program. I don't let anybody in. Right now, there's no openings. There's no spots, so you cannot apply. Copywriting is the reason my real estate career's really taken off. And primarily because the average dollars per sale has gone dramatically higher. In Furry Friends, my average dollars per sale might have been $1 or $2. So for me to make 10,000 a week, I'd have to make 10,000 sales. Well, here in Stonewheel land, at Stonewheel Group LLC, for Luke Stonewheel, as I introduce myself as Luke Stonewheel hereafter. And the reason is because here at Stonewheel, average sale might be $10,000. So for me to make $10,000 a week, I only got to make one sale. It really is that straightforward. Now, you might say, how much are you working? Maybe one week it'll take me 50 hours to get one sale, but maybe the next week it'll only take me 15 hours. Who knows? It changes on a week-to-week basis. Sometimes it may be 20 hours a week, sometimes it may be 40 hours a week. Sometimes it may be 10 grand, sometimes it may be 30, 40, 50 grand. If you get to becoming a business owner yourself, or reach out to me on social media, send me a message. Let me know what you're up to. Let me know what you're doing. If you want to leave a comment here, I'd love to learn about what you're doing out in the economy. Like I said, I think that us self-employed Americans in some ways are a little bit, better people because we're more disciplined. And I think disciplined people are what really make a difference in the world. If you're more disciplined, chances are you're going to do something a little more worthwhile out there in the world.